of them are injury related. And we obviously want to know, how's this impact on your approach to the game? I mean, obviously you got a different fly off. I don't know when last Damien has played fly off, and obviously the tactics around the changes.
Yeah, no, like you said, Jan, the big thing is, especially in the fly-off position, unfortunately, yeah, we lost 2 fly-offs in one game. And but like in all things in life, I think it's unfortunate for the 2 guys who got injured. But it's fortunate for Damien, you know, and Damien has played for us at fly-off this year, the first Welsh test match. In Pretoria, he played the second half at 10. So it's quite looking forward to see him there again and getting that combination between him and Willie.
Lloyd?
Thanks, how's it, Jacques? Quite simply, how is everyone? It's how are you and how is everyone? I mean, it's been a tough couple of weeks. I can't, really recall the temperature being this high. Maybe in your whole tenure, you and Rassie together, with the kind of emotion from back home and the heat. How is everyone? Is the team still very much together? Are there any kind of cracks that you're starting to see? How's everyone handling it?
Yes, no, listen, Lloyd, it's good. You know, obviously we disappointed with the 2 losses we had the last 2 weeks. But I mean, the only thing we can focus on is trying and getting a result in the next week, the next test match, which is on Saturday. So yeah, no, we're working as hard as possible, putting in the effort and looking to see if we can't change it around on the weekend.
Ashfaq?
Hi, Jacques and Jaden. Jacques, just firstly, how bad are some of those injuries or guys? Any long-term injuries there? And then secondly, just in terms of the attack, there were some really pleasing passages last week, and you spoke afterwards about just finishing, maybe the last pass not going to end. What do you think they need to do differently this time around when you get into that red zone?
Yeah, Ashfaq, no, in terms of the injuries, we will probably have more clarity on the severity of the injuries by tomorrow. Obviously, they're not up for selection this weekend, but hopefully we will have more clarity from the medical team in terms of the duration of the injury and how long they will be out by tomorrow. In terms of, yes, I think the main thing for us in the way we play is to try and create pressure. And then that pressure will translate over to opportunities, and then you must convert those opportunities into points. And yeah, the bad thing was, or the big work on for us, I think, in this week is converting those opportunities. And you know, some of those opportunities that we didn't take, sometimes it was a lack of support. It was maybe a technical issue here and there. So it's something that we worked hard on during the week. And like I said, hopefully we can create as much pressure as we did last week and get those same amount of opportunities and then convert them on the weekend.
Nathan?
Thank you, Zina. Good day, gentlemen. Jock, a few things were highlighted last week are ultimately costed the side: example, discipline, points conversion rate, intensity, and being effective at set pieces, just to name a few. Do you feel this side you named will tick all those boxes? The reason why I'm asking this, I asked at the captain's presser last week on some of these areas I mentioned, which you guys assured would be fixed but wasn't.
Nathan, the areas you're talking about? Sorry, I missed it in the beginning.
No, I'll go ahead again. The areas which I was talking about: discipline, points conversion rate, intensity, and being effective at set pieces.
Yeah, yes, I think the main thing, or one of the things that we spoke about during the week is the start. You know, I think you guys mentioned it after the game in terms of we didn't start well, and I don't think I don't think any team can try and get it. How can I say, can plan to get a good start but you can plan to get an intensity start. And I think that's the one thing that was disappointing on the weekend. We didn't have an intensity start, and we spoke at length about that, and we raised it with the team. I thought we had intensity after the first 15 minutes, but we didn't have the same. We didn't have the same intensity at the beginning. So yeah, in terms of the discipline, I think we only conceded 9 penalties in this game. I think I don't know how many penalties Australia conceded. I think they conceded between 15, 16, somewhere there. So and in the first 2 test matches, we only conceded 7 each. So I think the 3 Rugby Championship test matches, we conceded 7 penalties, and 9 penalties. Yes, it was unfortunate. We conceded a yellow card, and that put us under pressure. But I think from a discipline point of view, it's something we pride, something we work really hard at, as to be as disciplined as possible, because we know it's going to be Rugby Championship is going to be tightly contested games, and discipline has to be good. So yeah, it's something that we pride ourselves, and I'm not saying we're squeaky clean and we're perfect, and it's definitely something that we can keep on trying to improve. Then in terms of the set pieces, yeah, I think if you look at I thought we created a lot of pressure with our set pieces. If you think, I think we through our maul we created a lot of penalties, and through our scrum we created a lot of penalties. And again, you actually want to use that free play after a penalty to try and convert it over into points, which we haven't done. And that's definitely something that we will try and improve on in this week.
Cobus?
Thanks, Zina. Hello, Jacques, Jaden. Jacques, just my question for you, a word on Kainan Moody making his debut at the age of 19. What do you expect from him?
No, yes, we're excited to get him in the mix. Obviously, I think he had an awesome season in the URC, and he was definitely, we followed him closely, and I think, yeah, we're excited to see him, and to see him put his skill set into a test match. And yeah, he's really, I think he's been a month now with us, and really happy to see his progress within the team, and how comfortable he became in the team. And he's a very coachable guy. Obviously, he's got the skills, and yeah, very excited to see him. And yeah, you won't say, when you work with him, you won't say he's a 19-year-old. He's very mature for his age, and he's got a good rugby maturity and a rugby brain on him.
Heinz?
Hi, gents. Hope you're well. Jacques, you mentioned discipline, and how you guys actually kept it pretty decently intact, during the game. There's been a lot of talk about the Aussie gamesmanship. So I just wanted to ask, were you actually chuffed, regardless of what the merits of the FUF incident was? Were you quite chuffed, with how you guys, dealt, with the niggly tactics and that type of thing, and how they managed to move on from those type of things? And secondly, do you almost think, given that the guys have been exposed to that in a previous week, they might even be in a better position, to play so quickly against them again, to cope with that even better this time?
In terms of if you talk discipline, and if you talk about tactics and stuff like that, yes, from our point of view, I don't know how it works in other camps, but in terms of discipline and being what we're trying to achieve, I mean, if you think what the player welfare and in World Rugby currently, I mean, the tackle entry height, head contact, concussions, all those big player welfare issues. The thing that we try and do our part in terms of that, in terms of how we coach. We know we want to play a physical game, but if you want to be physical, you have to be very accurate, and we're trying to coach that. We're not always perfect, like I said, but like in terms of tackle entry, we try and coach how can I put it, a level change at hip and knees, try and get a low tackle entry, try and stay away from the head and neck area as much as possible, because it's a big thing. I mean, I think it's well documented these days, the concussion and the whole player welfare issue. So from our point of view, we try and coach within those parameters and play our part in player welfare. But how it's coached at other countries, I mean, we don't know, and that's not something we can control. We can only control the things that we can control, and yeah, and we will stay within that scope, like what we can control, if I can put it like that.
Liam?
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Jacques, it's on a similar theme to Heinz's question. What do the Wallabies do differently compared to teams maybe like the All Blacks or England or whatever, that brings about soft moments for the Springboks, and even moments where composure is a little bit lost, because they seem to do that very well against the Springboks in Australia. Have you been able to put your finger on what they do to get you in those positions?
Yes, I think I think if you look at the game, that the past game, I think Australia probably created less opportunities than we did. The key thing is they capitalized on their opportunities. They created pressure, and the pressure led to opportunities, and then they converted that opportunities into points, which is the thing we didn't do. And that's why they won the game. And hats off to them for in terms of doing that. And that's the thing that we have to get better at, you know. So yeah, I think that in this specific weekend, they stopped us from using our opportunities, and they the couple of chances they got, they capitalized
on. Ross?
How's it, guys? Jacques, obviously Kwagga's been absolutely immense off the bench this season, and you know, sort of what was your reasoning with backing Franco there, not giving Kwagga, you know, another chance to start, firstly? And then secondly, just one for Jaden. Obviously, you haven't played alongside Damian Willemse very much, but how's the feeling been in training there? And do you think you guys will link up well this weekend?
Okay, yeah. Obviously with Peter Steph's got a bit of a niggle, and that's why he's not up for selection this weekend. And like in the week, the past weekend, Franco Mostert slotted in there, you know, and I thought he had a good game at 7, obviously giving us a nice line-out option there as well. So yeah, for us it was just a straight swap, Franco Mostert in for Peter Steph. And yes, Kwagga can play there, and Kwagga was very good when he came on, and he brought a lot of energy, and obviously not just the fact that he scored 2 tries, but I mean he brought a lot of energy into the squad, and Kwagga always do, you know. So yes, I agree with you. You probably could have started him, but we think in terms of the tactics that we want to employ this weekend, probably Franco Mostert is a better fit for us starting, and Kwagga injecting that energy and that he does off the bench.
Tony?
Sorry, I was searching for the. Sorry, yes.
Answer.
Correct.
So just with me and Gaza, it's just building a good relationship, understanding each other during the week, just sitting around each other, just speaking, not speaking about rugby, just getting to know each other. That's the main thing between me and him, and just being on the same page and knowing what we have to do in those situations.
Okay, Tony, you can ask now.
Sorry, Jack, I just want to go back to, you were talking about player welfare and the things that you do and not being sure what Australia does. Just a question around that. Late last year, World Rugby recommended, I think it was 15 minutes a week, full contact in training. And I'm just wondering if you saw that at that time, whether that's kind of been incorporated, whether you think any teams have incorporated that, or what your kind of stance on that is?
Yes, to be honest, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have 15 minutes full contact in a week. You know, we obviously, yeah, we try and manage it as best possible. Yeah, we play a physical game, and we like to play a physical game. And but I think it's a balance. And again, I can't comment on other teams. I don't know how they, if they do it, if they follow it, if they don't follow it. But I think it's pretty much you know, and I think it will probably differ from game to game. Some games are more physical than other, you know, and it depends on where you are in your season. Sometimes you're at the back end of your season, then 15 minutes probably will be a lot. Sometimes in the beginning of the season, you want to get the body conditioned to a little bit of contact, and then 15 minutes is maybe a little bit too less, you know. So and it also determines if you have off weeks or bye weeks and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of variables. Sometimes you do squad rotation, so you can play a team in one test match and play another team in another test match. So then you probably would like to balance that out. So I think it will probably differ from team to team. But I don't know how the other teams do it. But I know it's something we follow, and it's something we track, and it's definitely something that we keep a close eye on. Yes.
Mubin?
Hi, Jacques. Hi, Jaden. Jacques, we've obviously suffered 2 defeats in a row now. I just want to know, is this game a must-win at all costs for this Saturday? And then, Jaden, could you just tell us what's the mood like or the morale like with the players at the moment?
Mobeen, yeah, yes, I think it's a must-win for all the teams currently. I think the rugby champion. I think we're halfway through the rugby championship, and I think it's very tight currently in the rugby championship. I think everybody is close to one another, and I think whichever team who wants to win the rugby championship needs to probably win the last 3 games. So I think we're all in the same boat.
Let me just see who hasn't asked any questions yet.
Jaden.
Oh yeah, Jaden.
So the mood in the team now is just everyone just going hard on their detail. We're super excited for this weekend. We can't wait for Saturday. It's just basically going out there and performing and just taking our opportunities if we get it.
Justin?
Good day, everybody. Jacques, just for you, Kobus Reinach last played for the Boks last year on the end of year tour. Bringing him in on the bench, I mean, you talk highly of him, you know, just when he's at his best, he really is one of the best in the world. Bringing him onto the bench, what are you kind of expecting from him and to kind of cover for Jaden, hopefully later on in the game?
Yeah, yes, Kobus, I think like we mentioned, we're fortunate we have some quality nines with us in the squad, and yeah, Kobus have been injured, and I think a lot of countries are sitting with the same issue as we have. There's no club rugby currently. If you look at Argentina, I think there's only NPC, or I don't know what it's called these days in New Zealand. So I think a lot of us national teams currently who in the rugby championship who suffer injuries or get players back from injury, they wouldn't have played a lot of rugby. And yeah, Kobus has been brilliant with us the last since he's been with us, and we introduced him to training. So I would love to see him bring his X factor. You know, he's got a lot of it, and when he comes on. Yeah, would like to see him use his X factor when he comes back, when he comes onto the pitch.
Morgan?
Thanks. Hi, Coach. It's Morgan. There was in the previous game, there were 15 minutes or so in the first half where you guys battled to convert your chances and you had a lot of opportunities. Have you since identified what the problems were there and how you guys going to rectify it for this weekend if you come into a similar situation?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you rightly say, we probably dominated territory and had a lot of 22-meter entries in that 15 minutes. And I would say probably we didn't get to the launch. And that's something we can control. So probably created some pressure with our set piece. But then the play off that, we probably weren't as good. And that's something we spoke about a lot during this week and something that we addressed during this week.
Guys, let's take one more English question, then we'll go over to Afrikaans. And then if there is time afterwards, we can, we'll hop back to English again. So let's take, Nathan, your hand's been up for a while.
Thank you again, Zina. Jock, my question's for you again. Many conversations are rising regarding your win ratio. Do you feel the pressure personally? I mean, a few weeks ago, a guy like Fozzie was probably feeling the same needs as well.
My personal, as Afrikaans.
No, I'm asking in English, yes.
Okay. My personal win record.
No, you're like the pressure. Are you feeling it personally? Obviously with your current win ratio with the box.
Look, the only pressure, I think the pressure myself personally and the team probably feels is the pressure we put on ourselves, and that's obviously because of the losses. But I won't say. How can I say? I think we all feel pressure because you want to produce for your country and you're representing your country. But I think. How can I put it? The pressure is trying to get solutions for the next game, and not necessarily the pressure. Obviously, this. How can I put it? It's not pressure of the outside pressure. It's internal pressure. It's not. I mean, I can't. No coach can control the outside pressure. I mean, that will come, and it comes with the territory, and we live and we die by that pressure. But I mean, if you start focusing on that pressure, I think then you focus on the wrong things. We only focus on our internal pressure, the things that we want to achieve and the things that we want to get right. And that's the pressure. If you ask me, listen, is there pressure? Yes, it's internal pressure, the pressure that we have as a squad on each other. But because that's the pressure we can control and we can do something about. But the external pressure will always be there. And this week it will be on us. And it's on all coaches. If you lose 2 games, there's going to be external pressure on you. But I think the key thing for me personally, for us as coaches, for us as players, is to focus on the pressure that we can control, and that's the internal pressure.
Guys, let's switch over to Afrikaans. Percy, you couldn't raise your hand, but you can ask your question.
Zina, I'm indebted to you. Thank you so much. Goeiemiddag, meneer. Jacques, ek vra net 'n vraag vir jou of 2 vir jou vra. Jacques, kan ek jou vra? Nou, Afrikaans is besig om my steek te laat. Is hierdie veranderinge wat jy gemaak het as gevolg van beserings, is dit noodgedwonge veranderings wat jy gemaak het, of is dit deel van julle plan, sogenaamde plan wat julle het? Julle wou aanvanklik ook spelers in sekere posisies meer eksperimenteer of speelkans gee. En net, kan jy dalk vir my net bietjie sê oor, as ek het reg het, julle 11 of 12 jaar laas in Sydney gespeel. Kenan Moody sou 8 jaar oud gewees het. Wat maak hom so besonderse spelers, en dit moet 'n groot voorreg vir hom wees om sy toetsdebuut te maak op Springbok op 19-jarige ouderdom?
Ja, Percy, ek sal begin met Kenan. Ja, yes, ek dink ek kan nou nie veel met 100% sekerheid sê wanneer het Suid-Afrika laas in Sydney gespeel nie. So jy sal die data daaromtrent weet, maar ek dink vir Kenan om op 19 vir die Bokke te speel is, ek dink hy en sy familie sal baie trots wees. En ek dink hy verdien dit. Ek dink as mense gaan kyk hoe hy vir die Bulls gespeel het in die URC, jy weet, is nie, hy het hard gewerk daarvoor en hy het geleenthede gekry en hy het dit gevat, jy weet, en dis hoe ons hom gesien het. En so ons is baie opgewonde om hom te sien die naweek en baie trots op hom en op sy om het te bereik het, jy weet. En veral hierdie hy's nou 'n maand by ons en ek het dit in Engels gesê, maar hy's 'n baie coachable speler en hy werk hard en hy maak seker dat hy al sy detail ken. So alhoewel hy 19 is hy baie volwasse in terme van die rugby omgewing. So en ek hoop hy sal 'n goeie debuut hê. En dan in terme van die veranderinge wat ons gemaak het, Percy, van die veranderinge is deur beserings geforseer. En ja, die meeste van hulle is deur beserings forceer. En dis altyd daar's 'n negatief en 'n positief. Die negatief is altyd sleg vir die spelers wat die beserings kry. Maar die positief is dat daar weer geleenthede kom vir ander spelers, jy weet, om deel te wees van die groep en om hulle self te bloot te stel aan toetsrugby.
Leighton, you had your hand up earlier and then dropped it. Is that a question?
Dis 'n vraag. Hallo Zina, baie dankie. Hi Jock, hi Jaden. Jock, net vir jou, Percy het so liggies daaraan nou geraak, maar net die feit wat gemaak het, is daar die geleentheid vir die spelers om moontlik in die volgende toets in Argentinië te speel, en dan 'n derde toets in Suid-Afrika teen Argentinië? Of hoe bekyk julle die situasie? Want teen Wallis het julle ook veranderinge gemaak en weer teruggegaan na die vorige span toe.
Ja, ek dink as 'n ou kyk, hoe kan ek sê, wanneer ons 'n span kies ons altyd 'n span om te wen. Jy weet, ek het dit al van tevore gesê, jy verteenwoordig jou land en jy wil altyd wen. Maar partykeer is daar, soms is daar, kies jy ook 'n span om geleenthede te bied vir sekere ouens in sekere posisies, om bietjie die squad experience te bou, bietjie experience in die squad te kry. Partykeer wil jy sekere kombinasies toets. Partykeer is daar sulke goedjies waarna ou kyk, maar dis altyd die heel eerste rede is altyd om te wen. So hierdie span wat ons die naweek gekies het ons gekies want ons dink hierdie span kan vir ons hierdie toets wen. En wanneer die toets klaar is, dan sal ons kyk na die volgende toets. Maar dit sal altyd wees om te wen. Dit sal nooit wees om te eksperimenteer nie. Ons kies 'n span want ons glo daai span sal vir ons met dit wat ons wil doen in daardie week sal vir ons die nodige resultate gee. En ja, partykeer is ons verkeerd, jy weet, ons is nie altyd reg nie. En partykeer is dit foute wat ons gemaak het, partykeer is ons bietjie naïef in dit wat ons probeer doen het, maar ja, die span wat ons kies is altyd 'n span wat die span word gekies om vir ons die toets te wen.
Guys, we're running out of time. We can probably take another one question, maximum two. Mubin, we are in Afrikaans, so is your question in Afrikaans? Mubin? Okay, is reg. Jan?
Dankie Zina. Jacques, net 'n opvolg op wat my vorige vraag in Engels was. Obviously Damien op losskakel is verandering, maar die hele spine daar verander. Jy het 8ste man skramskakel, losskakel en dan jy in die center ook en heel agter. Hoe gaan dit jou benadering na die wedstryd verander spesifiek? Ons weet wat se tipe spel Damien speel wat 'n meer aanvallende spel is. Is dit 'n aanduiding dat jy dalk beter meer aanvallend kan wees? En my tweede vraag is Dion Fourie op as 'n hakker plaasvervanger. Hy het lanklaas, ek weet nie of hy al vir julle gesê het wanneer laas hy hakker gespeel het nie, maar is julle vol vertroue dat hy na so lank af 'n klomp flank gespeel het op hakkers wat kan inpas?
Ja, ek dink ek gaan begin met Dion Fourie. Ek dink Dion Fourie is 'n speler wat dalk ons probeer nou maar kyk vir vorentoe vir wêreldbeker, maar hy's dalk 'n ou wat dieselfde rol kan vervul as wat Skalk Brits vir ons vervul het, jy weet, iemand wat vir ons kan hakker speel en ook vir ons op losverspeler kan uithelp. Maar van na die eerste toets teen die All Blacks met Bongie se besering het Dion was die hele tyd dat hy al twee rolle vir ons vervul, maar hy kan ek maar sê sy tyd verdeel, 50% van sy tyd het hy aandag gegee aan haker en 50% aan losverspeler. Maar vanaf die besering aan Bongie het hy 100% net aan haker sy aandag gegee. So nee, dis iemand wat ons vertroud is en weer eens obviously Joseph het vir ons het baie, Joseph was vir ons goed gewees in die twee wedstryde wat hy gespeel het. Ek dink hy het baie geleer. Daar was baie positiefs uit sy spel uit en ek dink daar's baie goedjies, baie work-ons, kan ek dit maar so sê. Of work-ons wat ons kan verbeter. Maar Dion kry nou sy geleentheid daar en nogal opgewonde om te sien wat hy vir ons kan bring. En wat is die ander een?
Dit gaan oor die access, opvolg oor Damien, die tipe spel wat jy met Damien kan speel.
Ja, weet jy, Damien het vir ons fly off gespeel in die Wallis, die laaste 40 minute teen Wallis, jy weet, so ja, uit die aard van die saak, Damien het 'n spesifieke skillset wat hy het, en daai skillset moet hy na die game toe bring. Ons sê altyd, ons het 'n spelpatroon wat daar is, maar jy moet jou eie, kan ek maar sê, jou circus act na die party toe bring, jy weet, dit wat jy en goed is, en dis wat ons verwag van Damien.
Guys, unfortunately that we've run out of time. That wraps up our press conference. Thanks to Jacques and Jaden. I'll be sending out the recording shortly, but can I please ask that you just all remove yourself from the meeting, just leave the meeting so we can get the recording out as quickly as possible, please. Thank you very much. Thanks, gents. Have a good day and afternoon.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good day, guys.